Hey everybody, how you doing? This is actually part 2 in a 2-part series that is covering all the things that you probably should be thinking of doing and you're probably not thinking of doing every 6 months to a year in your home to keep it maintenance free and to keep it running smoothly. Now, these are things that I've discovered and I divided it up into 2 parts. Part 1 is dealing with the things outside the home, and part 2 is actually dealing with all the things inside the home. So let's go ahead and get started on part 2. I am standing inside my laundry room. Not my favorite room in the house, that's for sure. But my name is Rusty Nelson and welcome. Today is part 2 of what I call Filter Day, and each year I update this. A lot of these from updates from suggestions you guys gave me, things you do around your house. And most of these things really tend to become preventative maintenance. Now the first part, which I highly suggest you watch, is from the outside of the house, looking at things like sprinklers and hot water heater filters and that type of thing. And then this is part 2, which I come inside the house and I go through a lot of the things in the house. Now, I promise you there's going to be a lot of things on here that there you go. I didn't know that, because there's a lot of stuff that I didn't know. And that's one big thing. I got to put this disclaimer. I am not an expert in any of these things, but I've done a lot of reading on these. And I'm just kind of passing along to you as I learn. And also, thanks to you folks putting stuff down in the comments of things you do all year, I'm adding them onto these and passing them along to everybody else. Now, I'm going to go around and I'm going to have some things in here that we may talk about, kind of like surge protectors or something like that. And these various items I'm going to put down below, and you can order them on Amazon. I do get a little small itty bitty pennies, barely pay for the electricity to do this, but it sure helps this channel go along. You don't get charged anymore, and anytime you go through one of those links, no matter what you buy, I get a little bump, and I may get to buy myself a beer at the end of the week. That's about it. We are going to start inside the laundry room, and then we're going to quickly move around to see a lot of things. Now, 2 things that I'm not going to show you how to do right now is the dryer vent. I'm going to do a separate video with that, and I will also do a separate video descaling of the tankless water heater outside. But let's just get started in here, and where you'll see sometimes I have different clothes on or I look a little different. That's because what I've done is taken the things that I'm using from last year and I'm putting them in this video, and then I'm just adding to them where they make sense. And let's go ahead and get started right here with this baby. Now I know everybody knows this right here, your lint. Also, you need to, they suggest once a year, you have a professional go clean your line out and make sure that, and I think that's kind of important in the beginning to have somebody come do that after the first year, I would guess, because you have new carpet in there, you've started washing a lot of new towels and that type of thing, bedding, and that produces a lot of lint, so you may want to not put that off for a year and give it a shot and see what happens. Down low down here, right by where the filter is, and you just want to get this screwdriver. Now I have a towel put down here. I've never done it with this machine, so I have no idea what to expect. Just flip that off. You want to put a pan under it like that. And it has a little spout. And right in here, you should be able to twist this, and you can actually control the water slightly by how quickly you unscrew this, and there starts to come some of the water. Hopefully there's not too much. I can't remember whether they said there could be a quart or a pint, but if I have to, at least I can stop this. By not taking it all the way out, I can stop this, start it up again if I have to empty the tray out. Well, there it is. As you can see, there's not too much in there. And it's not really a fine filter, but there is some chunks of stuff that came out. All there is to that. Now, there was quite a few turns in that to get it all the way in there.
and clean that up. And that's about it for the washer. As you know, there's a lint thing in the dryer, but you kind of change that every single time. So on to the next project.
Now, from down there in the filter area back up to here, something that I put on my washer and dryer, because let me tell you, these suckers are expensive. And being a gadget guy, of course, I had to buy the one that had all the gadgets on it. So these babies talk to each other, and this tells us what kind of dryer setting to have when you put it over there. It chimes in when my laundry's done. And trust me, for the bachelor guy, it saved me a lot of smelly, nasty laundry. But anyway, something that I did put on here is these suckers right here. Now let's take a look at them, and I will put the links to these down below. These are actually surge protectors that are meant for washers, dryers, refrigerators, that type of thing. And you just simply put them on there and then plug them in. They take a second because they have a timer on them to set themselves. And speaking of that, I'm going to jump out here really quick in a second. I'll show you a couple of the other surge protectors I use because we still got to come back in here. But some of the surge protectors actually have lights that supposedly say when they're bad. Now, the thing is, whether you know something about surge protectors, I don't know a ton of stuff about them, but you'll hear about joule ratings. And when I did research on these, I tried to find ones that had higher joule ratings so that it would help protect the electronics and everything. The other thing you need to know about these is most of these surge protectors, if you get hit by lightning, you know, there's been a couple of lightning strikes down here in the villages. We are the lightning capital of the world. And there's been a lot of lightning strikes. Now, direct hits, there's nothing you can do about that. But what these surge protectors will help do is as there surges back and forth, it will actually help your electronics to last a little longer. And like I said, from low voltage to over voltage. I also, if you watch the outdoor one, I had the electric company put a surge protector outside. Are they foolproof? Absolutely not. If you got a near strike, it's probably not going to do it. These probably aren't going to help. But I do unplug these. If I'm gone for any period of time, I unplug these. And I'm just talking about a couple of days, I unplug them. But also, let me go out and show you just a couple of these other surge protectors. And I have these all over the house, and I put them on many of my items. I'll just show you two here. Like I said, they will be in the links, and I'll also show a picture of them here, here, and here. At the end of my sink, I have one of these on here. I have a lot of electronics, if you can imagine, cameras, batteries, that type of stuff get plugged in here. And this is a surge protector on here. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it before, but a lot of the manufacturers of these actually say 2 to 3 years you should probably replace them. So if you got a surge protector that's over 3 years old, you probably need to replace it and get a new one. Most of these, I've done research on these that I've had that I bought, and they're actually pretty high joule rating. Another place you may not think about putting them, and I'll show you right over here, we'll jump over to the couch. I have a couch table right here, and my couch is a recliner. So I have one of these, and I think I already showed you a picture of it, but if not, I'll stick it right here somewhere. But this is Amazon. This is rated up to, I think, 4,500 joules. And so I plug this in. I also have one for my TV and all that stuff over there. In fact, anything electronic, I have something like this or like the other ones that it is actually plugged into. If you go away for an extended period of time, or you're going for a little while, and also every once in a while, if you don't use a specific sink, say in a guest room or a shower or anything like that, you may want to flush them every once in a while. And also in these type of drains, you know, they call it the rain catcher where it dips like that. There's a reason for that, and if you keep water in there, that keeps exhaust coming up from the sewer and back up. So every once in a while, just go in and turn on the water and run it a little while, because you want to keep that drain area filled with water where it dips down like that. Okay, let's get out of the washroom. We'll move out into the kitchen. In the kitchen, here we go. Now there might be some filters you guys know about, and there may be some you don't. I'm betting there's a couple that you don't. But I'm gonna push the camera right in here, and I'm gonna show you, because there's grease filters underneath here that you need to change. And not necessarily change those, but they can be washed. And then there's also another filter up here that a lot of people have no idea that it's up there. So I'm gonna show you that. Before I do, just a reminder, if you got a Keurig, they tell you that you should do that every couple of months. I think there is a clean filter light or something like that on it. Also, I've heard people say that if you have a filter on your house, you really don't need it on the Keurig. That remains to be seen. I'll try to find out that information for you in a little bit. If so, I'll put it at the end of the video. Here we go. We're going to show you where these filters are. Right now, we're looking underneath of the microwave, and there are these small silver grates that you see right here, and you just push those back a little bit and they almost fall out, and this is kind of what they look like. They're really clear. How can you tell that they're dirty? You can feel the grease on there. Obviously I eat out more than I cook in, that's for sure, because there's absolutely no grease on there. And you'll also start to see a little bit of discolor in it, but just put them back up there and they are going to feel actually like they're loose, and you just kind of pull it back and they're actually pretty loose up there. There's another one right here. Sometimes people will have one that a single one that goes all the way across here. But let me show you upstairs where there's a different filter, and we'll have to do a little screwdriver work to get to that one. Right now, I'm looking down on top of the microwave, and there's actually, right up here, and you can actually see it right through there, there's a charcoal filter that needs to be actually replaced. I don't know, this is not one that you can actually wash out, but I'll show you how to take this off and what it looks like. Just so you can see exactly where I am right now, I flip the camera over to the other side, and I'm going to take off these 3 screws right here. Put these up here. Now, this thing's a little tricky unless you know what you're doing. Instead of just popping it right off like you think, you actually have to push it this way a little bit and then kind of jiggle it off, and that's how it comes off of there. And then right here is the filter on this one. Now, some of them are different, and actually some of them actually have a door. And that's what it looks like right there. It's a charcoal type filter, and you go ahead and just replace that. And it tells you, has a little sign right there that that is the upside, and that's the side you want to put up. Sometimes they're a little tricky to go in there, and sometimes they just flop in there and they feel a little loose, but you got to make sure you kind of get it in the slot. And like I said, sometimes it's a little tricky. And there we go. All right, you're now inside the refrigerator. When I open this up, you look for the little guy that's running around turning that light on. Did you see him? Did you see the little guy? Did you see the guy that turned the refrigerator light on? So now you're inside my refrigerator. And if I turn this around, the next filter is right here. And this, I've also been told a lot of people don't bother to do that if they have one of the whole house filters. But I'll tell you one thing, if you have one of these GEs, you probably did not get a plug. If you're not going to use this filter and change it out, you actually have to put a plug up there, and you can call GE Parts and tell them you have to have the model number, and they will actually send you the plug for free. But this filter that goes in here, that's it right there, and it goes back in there. They're kind of expensive little boogers,
But this little light right here on this GE right here, the filter status, will start glowing orange, I believe, first, and then it turns to red when you got to change it out. So that's that filter. Also, if you have external filters, like you have some of the Nova 3-filter system or other ones, or water softener, it's kind of good if you get it onto this schedule. Mine's June till, and then my next 6 months is December, so it kind of reminds me of the holiday of my birthday in June, and then the holidays as I go through those and kind of change those things out. There are 3 things that viewers actually sent to me that I just totally glanced over in other years, so this is kind of new for 2024. One of those is a fire extinguisher. Whoops, oh my gosh. The pin came out. Kind of like a grenade, I think. I better get that back in there. Anyway, yeah, we'll figure that out in a second. But anyway, this fire extinguisher actually has a gauge right there that you can tell that should be in the green, and a lot of them also have an expiration date on it. So that's one thing. Also, looking right behind me, there's a refrigerator, and also right over here you have the stove, and a lot of these more modern appliances actually have firmware updates. Now, I also have a washer and dryer that had a software update, and you do that through the actual apps like GE, LG, that type of stuff. They know what type of model you have if you've downloaded the app, and the app will tell you if you need to update the software or firmware and how to do that. So that's something to check. Also, in the refrigerator, I have, through Sumter County Sheriff's Department, this is called the Vial of Life, I think is what they call it. And basically on my front door, I have a sign that alerts any medical people that this is actually here, and they know right where to go to my refrigerator to go find this. And what's in there is a list of all my medications, maybe what hospital, people to contact, that type of thing. And if you have something like this, you may want to update that with your current medications or contact information, that type of stuff. So there's 3 great suggestions. Thanks a lot to the viewers for those. And I guess we're moving on. I bet you thought we were all over with. Nope. The dishwasher, and a lot of people never think of this one. But actually, if you think about it, there's a lot of stuff that actually your dishwasher kind of chunks up, old food and stuff like that. You actually have 2 filters right here. It's kind of a larger strain filter. And then if you turn this, right, oh, look at that. Before I even got started, check that out. Screw came out of somewhere, so that might be worth checking out. There is a filter right here. It's kind of a fine mesh filter. As you can see, there's already some stuff in that needs to be cleaned out. So I'll take that, rinse that out. You can see this part comes out like this on this right here, and it gives you a chance. You can go ahead. There's a bunch of junk in there. And I think you'll see after I get done cleaning this out. Yeah, definitely. You can see how clear that is right there. And just as simple as that, put that back in and lock that down. And that kind of locks them both down. Can't quite see where it came from, so I'm gonna have to hunt that down because it's a brand new dishwasher and screws shouldn't be coming out of it. Expired things. We are not getting any younger, that's for sure. So to get sick from food poisoning and stuff, it is rough even when I was in my 20s. Jump in the refrigerator, take a second. I don't care what they say, sriracha doesn't last forever. And if you have any of those little olives for your martinis or any of those types of condiments, get rid of them and go out and buy some new ones, buy some fresh stuff. But check all those things, and also check in your pantry to make sure. You're gonna be surprised. You're gonna go through there and you're gonna find some old stuff. Get rid of it. All right.
we're still not out of the kitchen yet because we're going to get to one of my other things, which is kind of like my pet peeve, and we're going to move right over here to do this. Welcome to Rusty's Kitchen. Yeah, that's right. I've actually been asked during the holidays to bring my knife sharpener and come sharpen people's knives. This is not that hard. You can get an electric knife sharpener. I'll put some links down below. Hang on one second. Get a couple more things here and talk about these real quick. So this is an electric knife sharpener. There's not much to this. It's this easy. It gives you guides. And you just drag this through 3 or 4 times. There's instructions in there. And I promise you're going to come up with some really sharp knives. Now, I use this for touch-up. I'll put a link to something like this down below. And this is just a fine and a coarse. And if I want, I'll just take and go like this a couple of times and then use this. Now, most people think that these are all sharpeners. This is called a steel, and many of you have these, but you're not quite sure what they're for. There are 2 different types. There's a sharpening steel, and then there's a honing steel. And this is a honing steel because I have these sharpeners. But all you do is just run, and I can feel right away that that is like that, and then even that will help to make your knives a little bit sharper. But one of these, or even one of these touch-ups like this, works really well. Just go through and sharpen all your knives. You're a lot better off with a sharp knife than you are with a dull knife because you're gonna find out you don't have to push down very hard. But there you go. Knife sharpening. Hallelujah. We are finally out of the kitchen and out into the hallway, and I guess paired up with the fire extinguisher. You can also think of your smoke and CO2 detectors and that type of thing. You should be changing the batteries out. They actually say every 6 months. I do mine every year. Put fresh batteries in. There's actually 2 different ways you can do this. You can do it yourself, or you can call the safety department, and I will list their number right here. And they will actually come out and switch out your smoke detectors. Now, here's the thing, is basically if you can't climb up on a ladder, you can't do it yourself, that's fine. It is a kind of like a same-day service. They can't guarantee exactly what time it is. It's from 8 to 5, so you kind of have to be there most of the day. And you also have to have brand new 9-volt batteries if that's what it takes. Now, a lot of them take that, but if you've bought aftermarket or whatever, you have to have that specific type of battery, because they don't bring batteries with them. They just have somebody come out that'll help and assist and put the new batteries in. They will not do anything else but that. That's what they're there for, is just change out the batteries. Also, if it seems like you have a defective alarm, they will also come out and replace that. But with that said, you have to have that specific smoke alarm. And speaking of that, let me grab one of these smoke alarms. Actually, I'm just going to pull this one right off of here. And we can demo it this way. I don't even have to do this. Go up there and do it. So on the back of here, let's see. On the back of here, you're going to find a small date right down there. And the smoke alarms are actually good for about 10 years, warranted for 10 years. They say they need to be replaced from 10 years from the date of installation. So I take whatever sooner. This was built about a year before I actually got the house. This just so happens to be a CO2. So what you do is you just open this up, that's on these, and in there you'll see there's a 9-volt battery. Now, I will tell you that sometimes, and especially doing this backwards, these tend to be weird to get out. You have to kind of pull it out like that and then pull that. Now this door is meant so that it won't shut until you get another battery in there. I suggest when you pull it out, look and see which is whether the positive or negative. This is the negative, the larger one. And you'll be able to look in there. You probably won't be able to see it, but you look in there and you can see one of those holes is larger. Now, if you're up there, it's a little bit harder to do. And I know I brought the battery with me here somewhere. There we go, brand new Duracell battery. And just take that and slide it back in, and you have to kind of force it in there. As you put newer batteries in, it gets a little bit easier to put in, and then just shut it, and that's it. It'll beep, and it's ready to go back up again. Or if you haven't taken it off, you can just close that and you're done. But I have 5 in my place. You'll usually find one in each bedroom, hallway, and actually, believe it or not, out in the living room and stuff, I don't have one out there, but they're just in the hallways and bedrooms. So that's it. Make sure you do those. And like I said, I'll put the number down there below. You can call them up. They are really nice folks, and they'll be able to answer whatever questions you have. But get that done. Yep, I am in the shower, so it's probably going to sound a little echoey in here, but something that a lot of people don't do on a regular basis is clean their shower head. Now, if you have stubborn type buildup, you know, and especially down here in the villages, we have a lot of buildup of stuff if you don't have extra filters on your water. But you can actually take distilled white, you know, vinegar, pour it in here, you put it over top of this, and then you take a rubber band and you take it and you let it sit for a few hours, 5 hours, whatever it is, just leave it on there. And then you can take that off and you'll probably get that cleaned up. It'll take and dissolve a lot of the sediment. Also, here's a little hack, a little trick. If you have some of these, which are tiny little hygienic pick type things, you can take these and they have like little brushes on the end for your teeth. You can just take a look at this. There's just a little bit of buildup right around right here. You can see the white right there. A lot of people don't realize that these are made out of rubber, so that if you take a cloth or a really light brush, you can just go over it like that and rub them. And since they're flexible, those particles will come right off of there. And like I said before, you can also take one of these toothpick things and just kind of run it up in there, and that little brush will brush it off on there. So that's pretty much it for the shower. Now, a lot of drains, the faucets and stuff like that in your bathroom, you can unscrew that and there's a screen in there. And a lot of times that'll get clogged up and you'll see the water starts coming out, little funny directions, that kind of stuff. But you can just take those and use distilled vinegar or light brushing and take care of those. But you may just want to check them. Also, something else to think about, and it may be on the capabilities of most people, but also check the caulking and stuff like that around your shower to see whether in settling of the home, whether that's cracked. Because if there's any cracks in there, that allows water to get up underneath the tile. And depending on where it is in the house or around the sink, you don't want that leaking into the walls. Think about this for a second. Toothbrush. You know, if you have an electric toothbrush, get rid of your old brush and put on a new one. If you have the regular manual toothbrushes, I'll tell you what, you maybe want to converse with your dentist first, but these electric toothbrushes made all the difference in the world for me, and I don't mind pimping this right here. It will make a big difference in your teeth, and I'll tell you why. I could easily tell from going from a manual toothbrush to an electric toothbrush that by the end of the day, my teeth were a lot cleaner. Now, I did an experiment with my dentist. We went from the Braun to the Sonicare. They're both really good, don't misunderstand me. But at the end of a 6-month test, there was definitely, my teeth were a little bit better with a prawn. Say what you will, but that's the way it worked out for me. Also, in here, your medicine cabinet, folks, I may have said it already, but get rid of your expired medications. Especially if you got grandkids running around. You don't want those things, and dispose of them properly, but you don't want those medicines sitting around, especially if you have grandkids. And I know that as we get older, we tend to have some more exotic medicines, you know, that we've taken for pain or whatever, and we probably want to get rid of them. All right, I think we're done in the bathroom. Unless you guys got other stuff, put it down in the comments, because you always come up with some brilliant stuff that I don't know about that I may put in next year's filter day. Moving on. Something that is not always fun and doesn't get done a whole lot is actually rotating your mattress. Now, the more modern mattresses these days actually can't be flipped. It used to be we just flip them over and that was it. So they need to be rotated, which is actually a little bit harder because they're only meant to be used on one side. So make sure you address that and rotate the mattress, get somebody to help you do it. And trust me, your mattress is going to last a lot longer and be a lot more comfortable if you do. So far, that was a lot of stuff, but I'm telling you right now, after you do it the first year, you just do it one day, you get it over with, and take you and your honey, if you got one or whatever, go out to dinner. If the two of you, if it's something the two of you can do, boy, it goes really fast and you're done, and you'll feel a lot better over the next year, 6 months or whatever. And anyway, I am going to pour myself a little adult beverage and congratulate myself. But there are some other things you want to think about, and that is doctors. If you're over 65, you're on Medicare, you want to make sure you get your wellness check scheduled. If you're under 65, it'll be a basic yearly physical, and I want to do that, and I kind of schedule these things all around each other. I definitely don't want to do it on my December round because I wouldn't look so good on my blood tests during all the holidays. Also, eye doctors, folks. We're getting older. There's a lot of stuff that can happen with our eyes that we'd never see, and it's preventable, some of this stuff early on, so you want to make sure you do that. And that's about it. Go see your regular doctor. Enough of that stuff. Yeah. Anyway, we are done. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Make sure you watch part 1. If you have stuff to contribute, put it down in the notes down below, or the comments rather, and I will take a look at it. Maybe we can see whether we can put it in next year. I'll keep redoing these every year. I will put this year's this schedule is the indoor schedule right where my hand's going, like a flying bird over there. And you should be able to take a picture of that with your phone. For the schedule 1 outside, you can watch that video towards the end. Is also a list that you can take a picture of with your phone to cover all this stuff. Anyway, thanks again for joining me. I really appreciate it. Like I said, just take these days and do it. It'll really help out in preventing further damage in your house, and it'll keep things running efficiently, which is really, really, really important. You'll love it. Thanks a lot. Cheers. And I hope to either see you here again on YouTube or see you down here in the villages. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful filter day now that you're all done.